Chosen one, a moment came that changed everything, and they still can't explain how you did it. Chosen one, this message isn't random. This is not a coincidence. If these words found you right now, it's because something greater, something divine, has aligned this moment just for you. You felt it, didn't you? That shift, that sudden, unexplainable breakthrough that came in what seemed like a single night. One night, while the world was asleep, while everyone else was distracted, doubting, or delaying, you were being transformed. Powerfully, spiritually, and now they're looking at you in disbelief. They're asking questions they can't answer. They're trying to figure you out, to decode what changed, how you moved so fast, how you solved in hours what they struggled with for years, decades even. But what they don't understand is this: God guided you. Yes, it wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It wasn't even just your effort. There was a divine hand involved in your process. There was a moment when heaven touched your situation, when clarity rushed into your mind, when strength filled your spirit in a way you had never experienced before. And it didn't come with noise. It came in stillness. You remember that night, don't you? Something felt different. Something inside you refused to stay the same. While others were overthinking, you were receiving answers. While others were hesitating, you were being directed. While others were stuck in cycles, you broke free in a single moment of alignment. This is not a coincidence. You didn't just wake up smarter. You woke up guided. You didn't just act faster. You moved with purpose. You didn't just figure things out. You were shown the way, and now they're watching you closely. Because what happened to you challenges everything they believed about time, struggle, and success. They thought growth had to be slow. They believed breakthroughs required endless suffering. They convinced themselves that transformation was something that took years. But then, you happened. You became the living contradiction to their limitations. You became the proof that when God moves, time doesn't matter. And that's what unsettles them. They're in awe, yes, but also confused. Because they didn't see the prayers you whispered. They didn't feel the weight you carried in silence. They didn't witness the moment you surrendered everything and said, "God, lead me." That night wasn't just a moment. It was a turning point written long before you even realized it. You were being prepared for this. Every delay, every struggle, every closed door, it was all leading to that one divine encounter where everything finally made sense. And when it happened, it didn't just change your situation. It changed you. Your mindset shifted. Your energy elevated. Your vision sharpened. You stopped questioning your path and started walking in it with authority. And now, those who once overlooked you, those who underestimated you, those who thought they had more time than you, they're the same ones trying to understand how you moved ahead so quickly. But they can't see what you experienced. They can't feel what you felt. Because what happened to you wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You were chosen for that moment. God guided you through that night, not just to solve a problem, but to reveal who you truly are. Stronger than you thought, sharper than you imagined, more aligned than ever before. And this is only the beginning. Because when transformation happens that fast, it's not random. It's intentional. It's a sign that you're stepping into something greater, something prepared specifically for you. So don't shrink now. Don't question it now. Don't try to explain it to people who weren't part of your process. Let them wonder. Let them be amazed. Because they saw the result, but they have no idea what really happened behind that night. They watched you struggle for years. So how did everything change overnight? Chosen one. This is the question echoing in their minds, even if they never say it out loud. Because they remember who you used to be. They remember the version of you that was overlooked, doubted, underestimated. They saw your delays. They saw your setbacks. They saw the moments when nothing seemed to work for you, and quietly, they made a decision about you. They decided you were just like everyone else. They assumed your story would follow the same slow, predictable path. They believed you would always be trying, but never truly arriving. But they were wrong. What they didn't see were the internal battles. The nights you questioned everything. The moments you felt like giving up, but didn't. They didn't see the strength it took to keep going when nothing around you made sense. They didn't feel the pressure you carried in silence, the weight of becoming someone greater, while everything around you stayed the same. So when that shift happened, when everything finally aligned, it looked sudden to them, but to you, it was long overdue, because what they call overnight was built on years of unseen preparation. Every failure taught you something. Every delay refined you. Every closed door redirected you. You were being shaped in ways they couldn't recognize. And that's why they're shocked now, because the same person they once overlooked is now moving with confidence. The same person they doubted is now producing results. The same person they thought was stuck is now accelerating beyond expectations. It doesn't make sense to them. They're trying to connect the dots, but there's a gap they can't fill, a missing piece they can't understand, because they only saw your surface, not your spirit. They saw your waiting season, but not your becoming season. They saw your struggle, but not your transformation. And now, the contrast is too powerful to ignore. You didn't just improve. You elevated. You didn't just progress. You shifted into something entirely different. And that kind of change, it shakes people. It forces them to question their own timelines. It challenges their beliefs about what's possible. It exposes the limits they placed, not just on you, but on themselves. That's why some are in awe, and others are uncomfortable. Because your transformation is a mirror. It reflects what can happen when someone refuses to stay the same. It reveals what's possible when God steps in and accelerates what seemed delayed. And deep down, they know this wasn't normal. They know this wasn't just hard work. Because they've worked hard too. They know this wasn't just timing, because they've been waiting too. There's something different about your story. Something they can't explain, but can't ignore either. And that's where the awe comes from. Because you became proof of something greater. Proof that breakthroughs don't always human logic. Proof that when the moment is right, everything can change instantly. But here's the truth they'll never fully grasp. You didn't change overnight. You became ready overnight. All the growth, all the pain, all the lessons. They were building toward that one moment where everything would finally click. And when it did, it looked like magic to them. But to you, it felt like alignment. It felt like confirmation. It felt like stepping into something that was already yours. Chosen one, let them be shocked. Because they weren't there when you were being prepared. They didn't walk through what you walked through. They didn't endure what you endured. They only see the outcome, not the journey. And that's why they'll never fully understand it. What they saw as sudden was actually something much deeper. That one night wasn't luck. It was the result of something invisible. Chosen one, before anyone saw the outcome, before the sudden shift that left people speechless, there was a process no one could witness. A quiet, hidden unfolding that took place far from applause, far from validation, far from understanding. Because what changed your life didn't begin in that one night. It began in the nights no one talks about. The nights you sat alone with your thoughts, questioning everything. The nights you felt the weight of uncertainty pressing against your chest. The nights when it seemed like the world moved forward and you were standing still. That's where it started. Not in celebration, but in isolation. There were moments when you had no one to explain things to. No one who could fully understand what you were going through. So you stayed quiet. You processed it alone. You carried it within. And in that silence, something was happening. You were being stretched. Your mindset was shifting. Even when it felt uncomfortable, your awareness was expanding. Even when it felt overwhelming, your spirit was being refined. Even when it felt like everything was falling apart. This is not a coincidence. You didn't just figure things out one night. You were being prepared long before that moment ever arrived. Every time you chose to reflect instead of react, you grew. Every time you sat in stillness instead of running from discomfort, you evolved. Every time you turned inward and asked deeper questions, you unlocked something new within yourself. And then there were the prayers, not always loud, not always perfect, but real, honest, raw, the kind of prayers that didn't come from routine, but from desperation. The kind where you weren't asking for shortcuts. You were asking for direction. God, show me. God, guide me. God, change me. And even when you didn't hear an immediate answer, something was shifting. Because God guided you in ways you didn't recognize at first. Through thoughts that felt new. Through realizations that came unexpectedly. Through a growing sense that you were being led somewhere, even if you couldn't see where. While others thought you were stuck, you were actually going deeper, deeper into understanding, deeper into self-awareness, deeper into alignment with something greater than yourself. And yes, it was uncomfortable. Growth like that always is. There were moments you doubted yourself. Moments you questioned if anything would ever change. Moments you wondered if all this internal work even mattered. But you kept going quickly, consistently, faithfully. That's what they'll never see. They didn't see you choosing discipline over distraction. They didn't see you thinking deeply while others stayed surface level. They didn't see you resisting the urge to quit when everything felt uncertain. All they saw was the outcome. But the real story was hidden beneath the surface. Because transformation doesn't start when things change externally. It starts when something shifts internally. And in your case, that shift had been building for a long time.
That one night?
It wasn't the beginning. It was the release. It was the moment everything you had been carrying, learning, processing, and becoming finally came together, like a door opening that had been forming behind the scenes all along. And suddenly, it all made sense. The confusion turned into clarity. The pressure turned into purpose. The waiting turned into movement. But to everyone else, it looked instant. They didn't see the invisible process. They didn't feel the emotional weight. They didn't experience the spiritual growth. So they call it overnight. But you know the truth. You know how long it really took. Chosen one, that night was simply the moment your inner transformation became visible to the world. It was the unveiling of everything that had been happening within you, quietly, patiently, intentionally. And it happened exactly when it was meant to. Because timing like that doesn't come from chance. It comes from something higher, something divine, something precise. And that's when God decided it was time to reveal what he was building in you. When God moves, it doesn't take years, it takes a moment. Chosen one, this is where everything shifts from human understanding to divine realization. Because what happened to you cannot be explained by effort alone, or time alone, or even logic alone. There are moments in life when progress is slow, when growth feels stretched across months and years. But then, there are moments when God steps in, and everything accelerates beyond what seems possible. This is not a coincidence. You were moving, yes. You were learning, growing, enduring. But there came a point where your effort met divine timing, where your preparation aligned with God's plan. And in that exact moment, everything changed, not gradually, not partially, but completely. Because when God decides it's time, delay loses its power. Think about it. All those years where nothing seemed to move, where doors stayed closed, where answers felt distant. It wasn't because you were forgotten. It was because the timing wasn't right yet. There was alignment that needed to happen. There were lessons you needed to carry. There was a version of you that needed to be ready. And once all of that came together, the shift didn't take years. It took a moment. That's the part people struggle to understand. They believe time is the main factor behind transformation. They think if something takes long, it must always continue taking long. But what they don't realize is that time prepares, and God activates. You were being prepared over time, but you were activated in a moment. That night wasn't just about you figuring something out. It was about divine alignment reaching its peak. Everything clicked, because it was meant to click right then. Everything opened because it was meant to open right then. God guided you to that exact point where your mind, your spirit, and your situation were all in sync. And when alignment like that happens, it creates acceleration. What once felt impossible becomes clear. What once felt distant becomes reachable. What once felt confusing becomes obvious. That's not normal timing, that's divine timing. Chosen one, understand this deeply. God is not limited by the pace of the world. While people measure progress in days and years, God moves in purpose and precision. He doesn't rush, but he also doesn't delay beyond what is necessary. And when the moment arrives, it's exact. That's why your transformation felt so sudden, because from your perspective, it looked like everything changed overnight. But from God's perspective, it was right on schedule. Every delay you experienced was intentional. Every pause had a purpose. Every moment of waiting was positioning you for that exact breakthrough. So when it finally happened, it wasn't early, and it wasn't late. It was perfect. And that's what makes it powerful. Because when something happens in divine timing, it doesn't just solve one problem. It shifts your entire direction. It opens doors you didn't even know existed. It places you in situations that align with your purpose. It reveals parts of yourself you hadn't fully stepped into yet. That's why it feels different. This isn't just success. This isn't just progress. This is alignment. And alignment carries a kind of peace, a kind of clarity, a kind of confidence that can't be forced or faked. You're no longer guessing. You're no longer chasing. You're moving with certainty. Because deep down, you know this wasn't random. You know God guided you here. And that realization changes everything. It removes doubt. It strengthens your faith. It reminds you that no matter how long something takes, when God decides to move, nothing can stop it. So let them question it. Let them analyze it. Let them try to break it down into something they can understand. Because they're looking at the moment, while you're beginning to understand the meaning behind it. They're still trying to understand it. But you're about to realize why it had to happen this way. You didn't just change. You became who God always intended you to be. Chosen one. This is the realization that brings everything together. Not just what happened in that one night. Not just the shift that amazed everyone around you, but the deeper truth that has been unfolding your entire life. You were never random. You were never overlooked by accident. You were never delayed without reason. Every step you took, even the painful ones, carried purpose. Every moment you felt lost was actually guiding you. Every time you thought you were falling behind, you were being set apart. This is not a coincidence. You are chosen. Not because everything was easy for you, but because you endured what others couldn't. Because you kept going when it would have been easier to quit. Because even in your lowest moments, something inside you refused to give up completely. That wasn't just strength. That was God guiding you. Now look at who you are becoming. You see things differently. You think differently. You move differently. There's a clarity in you now. A quiet confidence that doesn't need validation. A sense of direction that doesn't rely on approval. You're no longer trying to fit into spaces that don't align with you. You're stepping into what was already prepared for you. And that changes everything. Because when you realize you are chosen, you stop chasing what isn't meant for you. You stop forcing doors that were never designed to open. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Instead, you rise. You walk with purpose. You speak with intention. You live with awareness. And yes, not everyone will understand it. Some will still doubt you. Some will still question you. Some will try to compare your journey to their own. But you don't need to explain yourself anymore. Because this wasn't just a change people can measure. This was a transformation only God could create. Chosen one, your story is a reminder that nothing you went through was wasted. The struggles built your strength. The silence built your awareness. The waiting built your patience. And that one night, that moment they can't explain, was simply the point where everything God placed inside you became visible. So don't go back to doubting yourself now. Don't downplay what you've become. Don't question the path you're walking. You didn't come this far by accident. You were guided here. And if this message is speaking directly to your soul, if you feel this truth deep within you, then take a moment right now and claim it. Comment Amen if you know this was meant for you. And if you're ready to continue growing, to keep aligning with your purpose, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because this is only the beginning of what God is revealing in your life. like this video, and share it with someone who needs this reminder. Because there are others out there, still questioning their journey, still doubting their purpose, still waiting for a sign. You might be that sign for them. Chosen one. Never forget this feeling. The feeling of clarity, the feeling of alignment, the feeling of knowing that something greater has always been working in your favor. Because once you truly understand that, you'll never see your life the same way again. You didn't just change your life. You stepped into your calling, and nothing will ever be able to take that away from you.